Thanks for staying with us. So, our hot topic today is about Idibia and Two-Face. Now, as I said, when Nigerians talk about a story, once the View doesn't talk about it, it hasn't been spoken about. But I must acknowledge that on weekend, the conversation started on Your View on Saturday, and we're going to continue because Anne herself, Idibia, came out just, I think, in the last 24 hours, saying specifically that we should leave our husband, her marriage alone, and we should always assume there was something wrong with her marriage. This is an important conversation to have. The reason is because we had said something, I think, last week about the utterances of our men. And I think I mentioned it last week that sometimes we need to have a conversation with our men. Let's talk about Nigerian men, maybe not men in general, and how they talk to women, to their wives, their spouse. We have a lot of this, or how they even express themselves outside, how they comport themselves or otherwise. What are your thoughts on the matter, on the Two-Faces issue? And then we'll come to Anne's response. Let's hear your thoughts, and you can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag YourViewTV, so we can read your tweet. I want us to, because a lot has been said about what happened, but I want us to start from the utterance. You know how people just talk anyhow. Do you think he should have been more composed in his utterances, or how could he have been more composed? Or was it just something that happened because it was a reality show, he just couldn't hold himself? What are your thoughts on what happened? Let's start with your initial thoughts on the event itself.
Yeah, so I watched the reality show from beginning to the end. I love it. I watched season 1 and I saw this other season and I enjoy watching. What I saw in that conversation was a man saying what he had heard from society growing up and saying it as a belief. So, you know, over time you hear your father say, this is how men are, this is how men are wired, these are men, and it becomes most men believe that is the real thing, that is how they are wired. We've had conversations here with even our back end people, and they say, yes, a man is wired to do that, because that's what they are used to. That's what society has excused for them. That has now become a belief. Remember that we make our beliefs and our beliefs make us. That has become a belief for him. And he was speaking generally that a man can love you. It doesn't mean he doesn't love you anymore. But then his body charges up and then he wants to just do it. But the point where they don't tell these men is, your body can, even women see a guy that they like and their body charges up, right? The charging up would happen if you have a physical attraction to somebody. But what you do with the charging up is where they don't say. And that's where discipline comes in. And that's where we can categorically say that there are some men that exercise that discipline. And even if their body charges up, they don't do anything about it. They, find a way to calm it down and move on. So saying that generally this is how men are is saying that every man out there does not have discipline. Because you must be charged up when you see someone you're attracted to. Even women, the only difference is our own charging up does not show because it's inside. A man's own, you see, he will barely be able to stand up. I've gone into, somebody has called me once, Oga, actually, that, babe, come. One babe just pass. Come, I cannot even stand up. Come to my office. Where are you? Come to my office now. Come and calm me down. And we laughed about it. It happens. But what do you do with it? Now, Two-Face in itself was not sensitive to. We'll
come back to that. I'll come to the next phase of being sensitive to his wife.
Okay.
What are your initial thoughts on what was said?
My initial thoughts when I saw the video of what Two-Face said was like, wow, Two-Face has misyanned again. Because Two-Face misyans all the time. Two-Face is a major goof when it comes to talking. He's not gifted in it.
Yeah.
He's not a gifted speaker. He's not a gifted, his gift is a maestro in music. Off the stage, he struggles. I remember Two-Face like 10, 15 years ago, people wonder that how come he cannot speak 2 sentences of good English and he sings so well. So we know he has a vulnerability in that area. And what happens is such people, when you're struggling to communicate, you can goof and you're unable to recover from it. So for me, I feel like, oh, Two-Face has done it again. He has said something. And I'm very, very sure that he would regret some of the things when he sees the backlash of the reaction to what he said. Because I don't believe that he would, the Two-Face that we've seen over time,
Will
would
intentionally.
intentionally want to hurt his wife.
Yeah.
So it was a goof. He loves his wife.
Yeah.
He doesn't hide that part. And he understands that he is vulnerable. My reaction is that he is generalizing his own reality and putting it on every other person, which is wrong. So he has a struggle with being able to control himself. We know, we've seen the result from many women. So we know that Two-Face has a struggle with controlling himself, but we also know that we cannot use him as a benchmark to judge other men.
Now let's talk about the issue of
Being sensitive.
insensitivity, because I struggled with the fact that many people were condemning him. I felt Nigerians were very hypocritical.
Yeah.
Where they were condemning Two-Face, because many women have husbands like Two-Face. Who is fooling who here? We live in this country, we are Nigerians. I won't say all men are like Two-Face, but there's a good chunk of Nigerian men that think exactly as he is. Who is your husband? Yeah. And says such things everywhere. He just talks about it loosely. And suddenly now, because he did his own in public, he's not the villain. And people are like, how can he talk to his wife like that? I'm thinking, your own husband probably does worse behind closed doors.
True.
So that was my own feeling of, this is so hypocritical. Because we've seen Two-Face now, we're all condemning him, when most of us are dealing with husbands that do worse. What are your thoughts on the insensitivity of it? What came across to you?
Yeah, so I didn't condemn Two-Face. Talk me couch it better, because I didn't know how to say, maybe in English they had him. He should have just said that thing in pidgin. Maybe he would have communicated what he wanted to say. But the insensitivity that I talked about is, so we act or we judge people based on precedents, right? I've been to a place where we had this conversation and someone around me said, of course, all men are like that, blah, blah, blah. That's how our body moves and everything. And I didn't take it personal because he didn't have a precedent of having different people. Do you understand? So understanding that you already have that precedent and your wife is not happy about it should have helped you when she was still, is that what, are you saying is general, or you are saying this is you talk, is this you talk? That was an avenue for you to quickly correct yourself and say, I'm just talking generally now. But he was carried away in the conversation. He did not pay attention to the woman beside him, knowing that this woman already has her insecurities based on your precedents. So we need to just be very, you cannot somebody cannot tell you that her knee is always paining her, and then every time she's around, you're bringing up conversations on knees and prodding and choking into the insecurity. You too will be able to calm down. I'm sure when he got home and there was a backlash, you would have felt bad that he didn't communicate well. But you must learn to listen to your spouse. If it's me, I would have pinched him and stepped on his leg. Uchiano, I'm here. You know?
That is you, BC.
I'm just saying.
I hear you, because the reason why this is such a deep matter to me is because I feel that it's an opportunity for us to address a lot of Nigerian men's insecurities in how they verbalize their feelings and how they are considerate or inconsiderate of their spouses. Because we saw that, I didn't want to reference Seun Kuti's video, but we saw the way he dismissed his wife. A lot of women try to tell the, oh God, stop, calm down. And the husband, shut up, what are you talking about? We see the way Nigerian men talk to their wives. So this is an indication, because it's deeper than what we saw. Let's go on a break. When we come back, we'll unpack this much more. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the matter. You know, as your view, we don't always try to focus too much on the personalities, but we take out the learnings from it so that we can all learn. And we're discussing the insensitivity a lot of our men, especially Nigerian men, lack. Because many of them usually dismiss or shout at or embarrass their spouses, maybe intentionally or unintentionally, but it comes from an inherent need of that masculinity, that I'm in control. You're my wife. I can tell you to keep quiet, and we don't have to talk in this place. What are your thoughts on the fact that many of our men usually aren't very sensitive to how we feel?
I don't think that we'd raise men to be sensitive. I don't think that we raise men culturally in this area to be sensitive to other people around them. We raise our men to be men, domineering, present and, taking charge. And so it's not easy for you to be sensitive and still take charge. It's like, it's a fine line.
You're vulnerable.
You feel like you're vulnerable. So most of our men feel like, especially outside, even if you get back and say, I'm a darling, don't, I just had to, so that I won't look like you're just riding. Some men will go inside and apologize. But when they're outside, they feel the need to
be the alpha.
Be the man, alpha male. So I feel that a lot of men are not sensitive. And in this case, Two-Face wasn't sensitive to Annie. I had a conversation with a man that his wife was very, very sensitive and felt like he was cheating. And I told him, he said, I don't know why she's just so insecure. I'm not going to be the one to be massaging. I'm not going to. It was saying it over and over again. And I said, hello, you are married, you have 2 children with this woman, you claim you love her, you are not going to manage her insecurity, and you're not being a good husband.
You're not ready.
As a man, you manage your wife's issues and challenges. Same way she would also manage yours. So why would you flaunt your female relationships, non-sexual, to your wife when you know she's sensitive? I said, don't put it in her face. Don't let her know that you have female friends that there's nothing going on, because she will never believe there's something going on. So she believes that there's something going on with you and this one, another person.
And you don't care.
And you don't care. That is insensitive. Talk to her. I said, 1, you need to reduce the number of women around you. Number 1. Number 2, you need to reduce the number of women around you when she's around. I said, because you're not doing it for her. You're doing it because you want your marriage to be successful. So you will manage her insecurities. Two-Face might have a weakness with women, but anytime Annie is around, his job is to assure her that you are number 1.
Yes.
I love you. I have my weaknesses, but you see, you have my heart. And that is what men should do to the women around them, not to make it look like it does not matter.
You have finished the show.
So, darling, in that reality show, there was another couple who they had a baby mama situation. Anytime this baby mama is present, this man will not play with any other babe. As a matter of fact, the other people were like, are you sure people still don't have something? He said, no, I'm dating somebody else. He's dating somebody else. We don't have anything with each other. But that respect is there. Nobody dares come close when this woman, in fact, they protect each other. I'm not saying that should have been like the ideal, but the point where you need to protect your spouse, especially outside. I said it last week here when we were talking about the lady that overheard the spouse, saying that, downgrade, she's not all that, but she makes me happy. I'm like, that's not your response. You must protect your spouse. That is your number 1 job. And it's both ways, whether it's the man or the woman. Now, talking about this insensitivity issue, women also need to communicate. So we always base off on assumptions. And he should know now. He should know the right thing to do now. He should know that I don't like this. He should know that I don't like that. Have you called him a few times to say, when we go outside, I know that you have had this past, but I don't like you talking about it in this way. I don't like you doing this in this way. I don't like the way you're hugging everybody. I don't like it. It affects my insecurities. Have you had that conversation? But most times we don't.
What if we have? Because many women will tell you we have tried.
So tell a man who is ready. Wait, live with the way you said it. A man who is ready to work on that marriage will listen to you, except he's not ready. So you need to count your cost. You need to ask yourself, is this man ready to work together with me, or we should just be doing our own thing? Some men do not understand that they need to work together. Some men will feel, okay, this is what my
marriage
wife...
work is the wife.
Yes, it's the wife that has the responsibility of making this marriage work. But those men who are ready to work the marriage would listen to you. You say it 1 time, 2nd time, 3rd time, 4th time, okay, I will try. I like to hug. However, I will try. When I go there, I will not hug. Let them not come to me. If they come, I will give them my shoulder. You see that somebody is making an effort. But have you communicated this?
So there was a part of this thing that also was disturbing, where people were painting out Annie to be such a woman who is insecure. She's not, she doesn't have control. And again, I don't know her medical status. But the truth is, I was asking myself, how many Nigerian women don't need some kind of therapy? How many Nigerian women don't need some kind of how many of us are not insecure? There's something in our background, exposure, in our experiences that has made us insecure about one thing or the other. We can't all pretend as if we're all these We are perfectly okay. We are healed. No, we are all just kind of managing this whole thing. And this thing called Nigerian marriage, trust me, it's a lot of work.
Marriage
compared
everywhere.
to other. I mean, marriage everywhere is a lot of work, but our own case, I think our own case is a bit different because our men are just very, very unique. You know, so sometimes we make it look as if, oh, she has insecurity issues. You know, you're pointing finger at her. You probably have times 10.
Yes.
So can we really devoid ourselves of insecurity? Are we not all insecure somehow?
So when I say I love what you just said, I think it's extremely important.
Yeah.
Even the men are insecure.
Yeah.
And women are, every human being, we might not, for somebody it might be their, for cheating, for another person is something else. Everybody has one form of insecurity that we ought to work on. We ought to work on. We are on a journey and we must take that journey. I feel that if you don't, you know, there's something I learned from the coaching program I did with BC and her friends. And he said, if you don't pass that course, you will remain there. In life,
repeating, yeah.
you will repeat it. So you must, even if you have an insecurity, you must find a way to move past it by taking ownership. I have this insecurity. What do I need to do to get better? It's a journey everybody must take. We have men that are very, very jealous. You know, men that are aggressively jealous. If they see their wife take a phone call from a man 2 times, they get paranoid. So such men understand you have a problem and then you work on it. If a woman has her own too, she works on it. We are on a journey, but we must continue to work on it. If not, we'll find ourselves at that same point over and over again. In the first season, and it was at this point. Second season, at this point. There is need for major therapy. We should talk about these things and normalize it.
Let me take this call from Hassan. Hassan, good morning. You're live. Thanks for calling.
Good morning. Please, I listened to the program on Saturday. I condemned Idibia for disrespecting his wife and women generally. Women deserve respect.
Yeah.
I said it. But I'm disappointed that 2 of your executive members there are trying to lower the image of the guy by trying to see him as if what he did wasn't intentional. It was intentional. It's not something general with women. You understand? A man should respect his wife. There's nothing with that. And my second issue about this matter is that women should learn to respect themselves. You should stop marrying a man because of money and fame. You see, if a man realizes that you got married to him because of his fame or his money, there will be no respect for you. We men, we recognize women that respect themselves. This emotional attachment, we recognize it. Good morning.
Thank you very much, Hassan.